Okay, everybody, I'm going to go ahead and get started. It's a little bit after 5, but again, I want to be as on schedule as possible and be mindful of all of your time this evening. So first and foremost, thank you so much for all of you for being with us virtually this evening. This evening's event for all of you, again, is the RN Exploring BSN Meet and Greet. Where you'll have an opportunity to get to know us very well over here at Ursuline College. I'd like to welcome you all on this evening. I'm virtually at Ursuline College. Behind me is the lovely scenery over at Ursuline College. Although we're not currently on campus now, it's still something that we encourage folks to explore us virtually. So I am here virtually. Behind me is a picture of Lake Alyssa. And so many of our students find that our picturesque setting in Pepper Pike is one of the biggest things that draws them to Ursuline. Although our program is an online program, you're more than welcome to visit us, and we hope that you do. So I'd like to kick things off by starting by introducing all the lovely folks from Ursuline College and our students who will be with us tonight. If we could advance to the next slide, I'd like to go ahead and introduce our panelists. So for those of you that don't know me already, my name is Kate Teichman. I'm the admission counselor that handles the Adult Accelerated Program, which is the RN to BSN program. I work with everything admissions, so anything with applications, introductory questions. I'm your gal. I also have with us tonight Dr. Gina Prosser. She is the Associate Professor as well as the RN to BSN Coordinator. Welcome, Gina. Hello. We will hear from her in just a few moments. And tonight we also have two students that are currently at Ursuline College that are enrolled in the RN to BSN program. So we're going to have their insights later this evening so that you can hear not from an admission counselor and not from the associate professor and RN to BSN coordinator, but you can actually hear from students that are actually in the program. So hopefully that will give you some more insights. So that is who is going to be joining us. We have Sandra. Sandra is one of our newest RN to BN students, and we also have Linda. So those are two of our student panelists that will be joining us. They're just finishing up at work, but they'll be joining us certainly for that student portion of the event tonight. So I'm done talking. Before I pass it over to Dr. Gina Prosser, for those of you that don't know, Ursuline College was been around for quite some time. We are primarily a women's college. About 90%, if not more, of our students are women. We do have men and women enrolled in our programs across the board, but most of our students are comprised of women. We are a liberal arts college. We're small. We're on the east side of Cleveland in a little suburb called Pepper Pike. So again, although this program is online, we hope that you will continue to explore us, and hopefully you will get a chance to do a quick drive-by, if not come and visit us sometime when we are back open. So enough about me. I am going to turn it over to Dr. Gina Prosser to give you some more insights directly into the program. Gina?
Thanks so much, Kate. If we can go to the next slide, please. And we'll go right on over to the next slide because we know why we're here. So I want to first talk about the program benefits of our RN to BSN program. We do find that we are affordable and competitive with other online RN to BSN programs. We are $347 a credit hour, and that's for all courses in the RN to BSN. Some RN to BSN programs have a rate for the nursing core courses and a different rate for general education courses. Our rate is the same for whatever course you need to complete the BSN. We also offer an accessible online format because we realize that our students are working adults. There are no required synchronous sessions in our program. Everything is asynchronous. So if you are a night shift nurse, for instance, I have many a night shift nurse that are doing discussion boards at 3 a.m. And that's okay. There are specific due dates for every assignment, every discussion board post and response. So as long as you stay within those guidelines, it should fit into whatever work schedule you have to help with that work-life school balance. And then, of course, the reputation of the Breen School of Nursing is well known in the Northeast Cleveland area, especially through our practice partners. We do a lot of joint work with the Cleveland Clinic and university hospital systems and other colleges throughout the region. All the courses in the RN to BSN are what's called an accelerated format. So most courses that are the general education requirements are 5 weeks in length. Most BSN nursing courses are 10 weeks in length, but there are a few that are only 5 weeks in length. Now keep in mind that's taking an entire semester of a course and putting it into a very condensed time frame, but the work is still there. So when you're planning your program, you want to make sure your particular graduation semester per semester plan, you're taking into consideration the homework that you're going to have for an accelerated course, and we help you do that. There's also 9 times a year that you can join our program. Our semesters are divided. There are 3 semesters: fall semester, spring, and summer. And within that 15 weeks, it's divided into 3 5-week segments. So you can literally start 9 different times throughout the calendar year and start your RN to BSN program. So there's no wait time. Some programs may only start in the fall or spring semester. We start all year round. So what's convenient for you will work because we can get you in. You do get a personal orientation to the program. You meet with your coordinator, an advisor. We take your graduation plan and develop it on day 1 with you. So it takes about an hour and a half, take you into the Desire to Learn classroom to show you what it looks like so you can get some skills practice in that. And then we literally look at your schedule from the audit that will be completed once you are accepted and deposited. We then map out your graduation plan on your orientation day. So you know exactly what you need to take and when. And so that helps you achieve your goal, stay timely. And then if things happen in life, because they often do, we can rearrange that schedule for you as well. So we like to give you a clear picture from day 1, what your journey is going to look like. I've been an online student myself for many, many years. My master's degree and both my doctorate programs are completely online. And I know how important it is to have that plan. So we do that for you. Your nursing advisor is also a nurse, and you are allowed to come to campus and take advantage of many of the wonderful campus activities that go on. Whatever an in-person student benefit is here at Ursuline College, that's extended to you as an online student as well. Our library resources, our labs, our bookstores, anything that we do on campus, you're certainly welcome because you're an RN to BSN Ursuline student. And then, of course, there are a lot of virtual resources. Since the program is completely online, our whole library system and librarians are available to you online as well. You can also come to campus if you like. If you would like to, go to the library and actually sit with a librarian, you can certainly do that. But many of the same services are also offered virtually as well. Next slide, please. So the minimum admission requirements for the RN to BSN program, we need an overall GPA of 2.5 or higher, a current unencumbered Ohio RN license, and an online application. The application, we really tried to trim it down to make it user-friendly. It's completely done online. It is free. And when we ask for one of the 3, a letter of recommendation from perhaps a coworker or supervisor, a current resume, or a statement of why you're returning, why you want to return for the BSN. Most nurses that apply to the RN to BSN program upload a current resume, and that'll do it. So you don't need all 3 of these items on the last bullet point, just one. Next, please. So there's a number of different transition plans that we have in the program. We have the associate or diploma graduate licensed RN. That's the most common type of RN to BSN student. But we also have associate or diploma RNs that have a 4-year degree in something else. that type of student has less courses to take in the BSN journey than an associate degree nurse that doesn't have a 4-year degree. So if you are one of the applicants that has, let's say, an associate degree from Lakeland College, but you also have a 4-year degree, perhaps a Bachelor of Arts, then your plan is going to look very different from the applicant that is an RN from an associate degree program only. So you can actually complete the program in 12 months if you have a second degree in something else. We also have, when we started in 2017, something called the Seamless Progression Program. So through our partnership with Lakeland Community College, we actually have pre-licensed nursing students in the RN to BSN program. So while they are becoming nurses and through the program at Lakeland, they're starting to take BSN courses with licensed nurses in the BSN program. So you'll see in the online environment, there's actually some of your classmates are working nurses and some of your classmates haven't become nurses yet, but there are certain courses they're permitted to take while they're completing their RN. And they need to have a little higher GPA in order to be accepted in the program, because obviously they're taking 2 programs at once. So we want to make sure that they have academic success. Next slide, please. We also have something called the RN to MSN Transition Plan. So there's 2 different types of tracks. So if you're a licensed nurse and you know that you want to continue on from your BSN to an MSN, then your plan would look something like this, where it's the RN to MSN transition. We call it a bridge program. And what that does is, in the advanced practice track, there are 2 undergraduate BSN courses, and our 205, which is pathophysiology, and in our 265, evidence-based practice. We would substitute those 2 courses for 2 master level courses as your last 2 courses in the BSN journey. When you complete and pass those 2 master courses, your BSN degree is awarded, and then you just continue on in the master's program. But let's say you don't want to be an advanced practice nurse, but you would like your MSN in the nurse leadership track. Then the 2 courses that we would substitute for you in the undergraduate program is still evidence-based practice, but the nursing leadership and leadership practicum, you would not take that at an undergraduate level, because if you're in the leadership track in the MSN program, you will take that course, and it serves as the equivalent. And when you're done with those 2 courses, your BSN would be awarded and you continue on with your MSN. So what the RN to MSN bridge program doesn't necessarily save you time, but it does save you money, because those are 2 undergraduate courses that you don't pay for, because you're going to be taking the master's course in their place. So you save around about $1,500 in savings if you know from the get-go that you want to continue on to your master's degree and go into the bridge program. Next slide, please. So what kind of skills do you need in order to take an online course? I have some students who are very skilled in using technology, and I have other students that really only know how to do email and use their smartphone, and that's okay. We teach you the skills that you need. But here's the technical skills really in a nutshell. You know, of course, answering email, because our main mode of communication is through email. Uploading and downloading a document, creating a PowerPoint, voicing over a PowerPoint. We teach you how to create an electronic poster and evidence-based practice, and of course, participation in discussion posts. These are the main skills that you need in an online environment, and we teach you how to do this. And I'll tell you, my best friend is Google and YouTube, because that's how I learned how to do all of these things. And so many times we supply you the links and show you how to do it as well via a video, and upload it into your course so you can follow along and get used to those new skills. Next slide, please. So what's it take to be an online student? Well, take a look at your behaviors and your practices and your work and your family and your school, you know, timelines and balancing act that you're going to need to do. If you're organized and you know that you're good at time management, and you take personal accountability for your work, because in an online environment, it's really what we call a flipped classroom. You are doing all of the work in order to participate in the discussion boards, in order to do the assignments. So lecture is that you see perhaps in a traditional classroom where there's a lot of lecture and PowerPoints, you're not necessarily going to see that in an online environment. We do give you a lot of links and resources, and then our learning happens in those discussion boards. So, so it's applying all of those resources into the discussion boards and into the assignments, and then, you know, we have active discussions all week long. And then of course there's written work and other assignments besides discussion boards, depending on the course. There are some online tests in the RN to BSN program. Our particular RN to BSN program is not heavy in traditional testing methods, because you did a lot of that in your pre-licensure program. We're looking more at how do you apply what you've learned, and much of that can be evaluated by your written work and by your presentation work. Next slide, please. So here are the most 4 common questions that I get in the 6 years that I've been doing this. What do I need to take? Do I have clinicals? When do I finish? And what does it cost? Well, we already talked to you about what it costs. And once you know how many courses you take, of course, you take that ballpark per semester figure and multiply that by the number of credits. I'm going to go through each one of these. So if you can go to the next slide, please. Okay, so what do you need to take? So we have something called, and every college does, it's called a residency requirement, meaning there are a certain number of credits you need to take from Ursuline College in order to receive an Ursuline degree. So 32 hours of residency is what's required, except if you're a second degree student with a 4-year degree in something else, because we have a very generous transfer rate for someone who already has a 4-year degree. So that 32-hour residency does not apply to someone who has a second degree. There are Ursuline core courses, and that can be anywhere from 6 credits for the second degree student to about 21 credits for the associate degree student that has no other prior college work. So it just really depends on what your transcripts look like. Now, the nursing core courses, there's 21 credits of nursing core courses, but one course might transfer over depending on where you went to nursing school. So the health assessment course, if you went to Cuyahoga Community College, for instance, now they just changed their curriculum starting this fall, but prior curriculum there, they have a standalone health assessment course. Their health assessment course actually transfers over as a course equivalent for us. Lakeland students that are in our dual progression program, they have a health assessment. They integrate their health assessment throughout their program. There is an end of program health assessment competency. If you are in our progression program and you pass that competency, we give you credit for the health assessment course. So again, it depends on where you went to nursing school. Most of our students, of course, went to nursing school in the area, but we have had students that have gone to nursing school in other states. And many times, if there was a standalone health assessment course, if you can send us the syllabus, we can compare the syllabus, and you know, we can get permission to make it a course equivalent if the syllabi look the same. The other courses that you would take are Foundations of Professional Practice for the RN, Pathophysiology, Evidence-Based Practice, my personal favorite, Societal Impact on American Women's Health, Health Policy and Global Health, and Nursing Leadership with Practicum. So those are the BSN nursing core courses. And then the number of general education courses that you take for the BSN depends again on your transcript review. Next slide, please. So this is what your transcript review would look like. So these are all the courses that you would need for the BSN. And so the courses that I have in green are courses that are Ursuline specific, meaning those courses need to be taken at Ursuline, okay? The courses that are in yellow are courses that are normally transferable from your pre-licensure nursing program. So A&P 1 and 2, microbiology, nutrition, lifespan development, those courses normally transfer over from your pre-licensure program. And if you took other courses, such as English composition 1 and 2 within the past 10 years, that will come over as well. So again, it depends on what you took in your pre-licensure program, but most pre-licensure programs take a science with a lab, intro to sociology, intro to psychology, and English comp. So those normally also come over as a transfer equivalent. There is that time limit on the English composition 1 and 2, so depending on when you graduated, that may or may not transfer over. And as you can see, then you see the nursing courses toward the end here. Those are Ursuline specific BSN courses. So as you can see, there's quite a bit that can transfer over depending on what you took in your previous college days. Next slide, please. So do you have clinicals? I get this a lot too. Yes, we do. We are a CCNE accredited institution. We actually just went through our 10-year review this past September with absolutely no recommendations from CCNE, as well as the Ohio Board of Nursing. And CCNE does also review RN to BSN programs, and our program passed with flying colors. And one of the recommendations for CCNE to RN BSN program is the clinical component. And of course, we do that very well. Now, the clinical component is not what you did in a pre-licensure program. So the community course, for instance, has a 45-hour independent experience. So the professor that teaches that course, you're going to find your own experiences. We give you a guidebook to give you recommendations and places to call and experiences based off what other students have done. You would notify the professor, I would like to do this, this, and this. The professor says, sure, go ahead. You keep your own clinical log that you turn in on a weekly basis to the professor, and that's the community experience. We encourage nurses to look for activities out in the community that maybe you're not familiar with, or that you want to learn more about or become active in. And we have found that our community partners are very open to RN to BSN students to experience those experiences. Then comes the leadership course. The leadership course is often the last course that RN to BSN students take before graduation. Both of these courses are offered every summer. And the leadership course is a two-part course, really. There's the theory part in 465 of nursing leadership, and it's a 10-week course. And then there's a separate course called NR 426, which is the nursing leadership practicum. So it's a 90-hour practicum over 10 weeks. So when you divide that out, you're looking at about 9 hours a week to do your practicum. I have some students who maybe take a week of vacation and do 40 to 50 hours in 1 week and then spread out the rest. We don't mandate how many hours you need to do per week. It's up to you because you're the working professional. We pair you with a nurse leader in your work environment, and you and your preceptor will develop your experiences together and your schedule to get the clinical hours done. We give you and your preceptor a complete guidebook of what types of experiences we would like you to have. And those types of experiences are, we want you to experience budgeting in nursing departments. We want you to experience quality and safety meetings, ethics committees. We want you to do staffing. Go down to the staffing department and try doing staffing, filling up a nursing floor for a couple days. We want to give you the experience of what it takes to run a healthcare organization, whether that's in a hospital or a nursing home or a community-based type of organization. So, you know, and by understanding healthcare systems, it really helps us practice. We're more informed as practitioners, as nurses. So that's the type of experiences you do in nursing leadership. You're not doing hands-on care. You already do hands-on care. You're a registered nurse, and that's what you do for a living. So we don't need to reteach you how to do all that. This is everything but the bedside. So that's a little taste of what the nursing leadership hours are. I have had very few students over the last 6 years needing an extension to complete those clinical hours. I would say 98% of students get the hours done before the 10 weeks is up. And you, again, would submit a weekly clinical log so that that professor can make sure that you stay on track. You have a mid-semester meeting, conference call, something like this, with you and your preceptor and the professor, just to make sure that everybody has their questions answered and any further guidance is given. Next slide, please. Oh, there we go. And when would I finish? That's also a question. Well, most students go part-time, and when you go part-time, it takes anywhere from 15 to 24 months, depending on your audit, again, depending on your audit, and that's taking, most students take about two courses a semester, so 2 in the fall, 2 in the spring, 2 in the summer, and that keeps them going along. But the average time, when I look at everybody's graduation time, the average time for a part-time student that does not have a 4-year degree in something else is 1 year, 6 months. So again, that's all year round, 1 year, 6 months, part-time. What's really important, and again, being an online student myself for so many years and working full-time while being an online student, it's really important that you pace yourself, because you can burn out very easily if you take on too much too soon. Get used to the online environment, know what your work expectations are and your family expectations are, and then fit school into that. That's the best advice I can give anybody returning to school. If you're a 2nd degree student that has a 4-year degree and an RN with an associate degree, you can finish in as little as 3 semesters or 12 months. And so that is very doable. Next slide, please. And then how much will it cost, of course. I try to be as transparent as possible with the cost here. So we know what the 2021 credit hour fee is going to be. There's a technology fee. It's about $150. I believe it's $150 a year. Textbooks, of course. I always recommend to buy used textbooks if you can. You can even rent textbooks. Some of our courses don't even use a textbook. There's so many resources out there now, and there's so much research in the libraries and on the internet that one of the courses, actually Societal Impact on American Women's Health, we don't even use a textbook for that course. So, we try to control costs for the student as much as possible. Escrow credit transfer is $6 a credit, and what that means is we need to transfer over your pre-licensure nursing courses to meet the requirements of the BSN. So at the end of your program, we're going to post escrow credits for you. So it's about 40 escrow credits at $6 an escrow credit. So that's $240 toward the end of the program so that it completes the BSN degree. There are clinical testings that you need to do. That's required of every nursing program, whether you do patient care or not. Much you'll already have, so like all of your immunization records, your Hep B vaccines, your CPR card, we'll need you to get a physical. There is a background check and a urine drug screen. You only do it once. If you get it done early in the program, that's fine. You just have to have all of your clinical paperwork done before you take any of the 2 clinical courses in the summer. So since those are summer courses, you'll start getting emails in the fall saying, okay, you're on track. You're going to be taking these courses this coming summer. Here's all the paperwork. Get it done now. And we bug you all year round to make sure you get that in. So when it is time to register for those courses, your clinical paperwork and background checks and your drug screens are compliant, and we can register you. And then, of course, there's a small graduation fee for your degree when you're ready to graduate. Many nurses take advantage of the tuition assistance through their employer, and I think that's wonderful. I wish that were around when I went back to school, but yeah, I would definitely take a look at that. We even work with students if you want minimal out-of-pocket cost. we look at, okay, what's your tuition assistance for a calendar year, and let's plug in, you know, how many courses it takes. But again, your schedules are going to depend on your timeline. So if you're a nurse that works for an employer that says you have to have a BSN in hand in 3 years from date of hire, and you only have 2 years left, then your plan's going to look very different from a nurse who just graduated and has 3 years to graduate. So, you know, get it done. Make sure that you know, you come armed with that information, because that's one of the first questions we ask in orientation is, when does your employer say you need to have it? Because that's going to determine what your graduation plan is going to look like. These plans are not cookie cutter. They're individualized to you. And then, of course, some students take advantage of the FAFSA federal loans, and then there's others that just play completely out of pocket. Next slide. We've had a lot of great student accomplishments. I'm so proud of our graduates in the RN to BSN, and this isn't even updated. This is just a handful of students, but we've had a lot of nursing students actually get promoted before they graduate, because they're taking what they learn in the classroom and they're applying it, and that's seen, you know, that's noticed. And so one of our former graduates was a Faces of Care award recipient. We've had one student promoted to nurse manager within a hospital system. Another was promoted to director of quality, administrative program coordinator, director of nursing. I had the pleasure of going to a geriatric conference with one of the students. Her evidence-based poster was submitted to a conference that she did for our evidence-based course, and it was accepted, and we actually presented her poster at a geriatric conference in Austin, Texas. And of course, then we have a finalist, Shining Star Nurse of the Year in 2019, one of our graduates. So we're very proud of our students. You know, our whole goal is that you take what you learn and you can apply it to your profession. We want to make sure that your education is meaningful. Just giving us tuition money and writing a paper, to me, that's not the quality that we would expect. Next slide, please. Okay, Kate, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Thank you so much, Gina. I so appreciate you giving us, you know, those insights and so forth, being that you've been the RN to BSN coordinator for more than 6 years. So you know that the gamut is, of course, there in terms of the range of the students that we see and where they are and what they're coming in with and so forth. So, you know, I'm so glad that you were here to give us those insights. And for those of you that are here with us tonight in the audience, be thinking of some questions, because after we're done with our student panel, we will open it up to the question and answer portion of the event tonight. So I have the esteemed honor to have one of our current RN to BSN students with us tonight. She is somebody that can give you some insight in this program with different students. So I want you to think that questions and answers are not just directed just for me. They can also be directed to those students as well. So enough talking about me. I would like to turn it over at this time to one of our current RN to BSN students. Sandra is with us tonight, so she's going to give you a little bit more insight about what it means to be a student with this program at Ursuline College, and hopefully give you some insights from a student perspective. So at this time, Sandra, I will turn it over to you to give our audience some insights about what it's like to be an RN to BSN student. Sandra.
Hello, am I on? Can you hear me? Okay, all right, good. Well, I didn't really prepare a speech or anything like that or anything specific to say, but I will be finishing my program this summer, and I was able to complete it in 1 year because this is my second degree. And my first degree was also from Ursuline, the UCAP program. And I just love Ursuline. It's my happy place. I love going to school there. It's I just have always felt at home at Ursuline. And the RN to BSN program really hasn't been too stressful. I manage it. I work full time Monday through Friday. It's doable. Just, you need to be organized and make sure you set time aside every night to stay on track and get it done. I've enjoyed it. It was my first choice. I mean, I did look at other schools, but my heart has always been at Ursuline. So I don't know. I mean, you do discussion boards. Those are pretty easy. Some papers, some PowerPoints, research. That I really enjoyed the evidence-based research class more than I thought I would. I was like, oh, this isn't, I'm not gonna like that, but I did. It was good. It was good. So I don't know. Any questions or anything I can tell you about?
Yeah, we will open it up. Sandra, thank you so much. We will open it up to our audience to digest everything. And you hit on it, and I just wanted to kind of circle back with you now that I put you on the spot, Sandra.
Okay.
But, the idea is that, this is an accelerated program. So again, the nursing classes are 10 weeks. The non-nursing classes, depending on what you're coming in with, are 5 weeks. You said that you had some classes that you weren't so jazzed about. Were those classes, were they all that bad in the accelerated version? I mean, you could push through it. Maybe it changed your mindset. Can you talk a little bit more about what that experience was like when you saw, oh, you mean I have to take, maybe let's say an English literature class, 5 weeks. You want to hit on that at all?
Right. Well, with this program, the only non-nursing class I had to take was nutrition. And Ursuline doesn't offer nutrition, so I ended up taking that from Tri-C while I was taking the nursing assessment course at the beginning. So, 5-week courses, 10-week courses go by so fast, and maybe it may not be your favorite class, but it goes by so fast you don't really have time to hate it or anything. You just power through and it's done. When I was in the other UCAP program, again, I just I really can't say anything bad because I just loved Ursuline, and like I said, it's always been a place of that I felt comfortable being at, and the professors have always been supportive throughout the UCAP itself. Always there encouraging you, willing to help. But as for classes, just remember it's only 5 weeks. It's only 10 weeks. And it goes by so quick. It really does.
Thank you so much for sharing that. That's one of the biggest things that, I always try to let students know, regardless of if they're coming in with a bunch of credit hours or they're just starting, the idea of this UCAP accelerated program, it's designed for those working adults. So we are mindful of the fact that you all are working, that you have multiple hats that you're juggling at the same time. And we're cognizant of that. We admit, for those of you that are at any stage, whether you're just looking at us or you've applied or you've been accepted, we offer a holistic way that we admit students. So what that means is that we consider the entire student. So we have a lot of students that maybe didn't find their calling in nursing right away. Maybe they were dabbling on another track, and then later in life they decided that nursing was their calling. We look at the entire student picture, and so we try to offer them support throughout their whole career. Gina touched on it earlier, and I just want to reiterate that the whole idea is that you self-pace as well. We want our students in any of our programs to stretch, but not to struggle, because we find that when you struggle, you're stressed, you're not successful, and ultimately we want you to be successful. We offer, as a student of Ursuline College, while you're enrolled, and then of course when you're an alum, you have advantage of our career services department, which offers you ongoing career support, coaching. We have launched an innovative career fit program, which helps you to develop and cultivate those skills. If you're looking to advance or maybe transition to, another aspect of your career, the whole idea is that we want women, especially because 90% of our population are women, we do have those men, but we specifically want the women that come through our doors and men to be successful. And we want them to get the most robust hands-on experiences they can. So although, again, this is an online program, Gina is by far one of the most hands-on program directors that we have. And the idea is that she wants to reach out and touch you. She wants to make sure, hey, you're going on vacation, let me plan your schedule so that you can do what you want, lead your life, but also be aware that, you have commitments that you have to abide by. So just keep that in mind, that she talks with students, whether, again, they're just looking at us or they're admitted or whatever. She wants to talk to you. She wants to give you those insights. So don't hesitate after this is over to, reach out to me, reach out to Gina with those questions, or if you just want to talk nurse to nurse. I am not a nurse. I do not have the brain to go through that. I admire nurses so much, but I am not a nurse. So having that somebody that has been in your shoes is so important. So please, I don't mean to put you on the spot, Gina, but she is so hands-on and she does want to connect with you. So at this time, we have some opportunities to hear from you in our audience. So we have that little chat at the bottom of the Zoom where you can put in any and all of your questions that you might have. It's really up to you. You can direct them to me. You can direct them to Dr. Prosser, to Sandy, whomever you'd like to direct some of your questions to. Hopefully we've answered most of them, but this is a great time to, again, if you want some more insight about what it means to be a student in this program, how accelerated, really anything and everything you can go ahead and put in that chat, and we will address it to the person that can most appropriately answer it for you. And just keep in mind that this event is recorded, so if there were some things that you missed or you want to refer back to, I will be providing the link to the event on our YouTube channel in a few days so that you can go back to it and review it yourself or share it with whomever you'd like. So just keep that in mind, that this information is not just for tonight. You can access it, sometime in the future. So yeah, just be thinking of some questions that you have. You can just put them to the chat. For the most part, a lot of the questions that we receive preliminarily from students are about cost, time frame, transfer credits, and so forth. Gina did hit on it earlier about the English comp requirement. We had a student that emailed earlier wanting to know if there was a restriction on time for any other questions about courses and how long they take to transfer in. Some schools have, caps about, certain classes they have to be taken within a certain time frame or so forth. I don't know if anybody wants to address that on our panel. Either Dr. Prosser or Sandy wants to talk about, those, are there any time frames for any of those classes transferring in aside from English Comp to Ursuline for this program?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite hear the last part of it. Actually, Linda might have some good insight as well about coming into the program and the courses that transferred over. Linda, would you mind commenting on that?
I don't know that Linda is here quite yet.
No, Linda's here.
Linda's here? Oh, fabulous. Good,
Yeah,
good,
she's
good.
here.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Good. I'm glad you saw her.
All my credits transferred. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Except for one English, and there was a 10-year limit. I've been out of school a long time. Ursuline has a wonderful reputation in the community, and that's why I chose Ursuline to get my BSN. I've been a nurse, registered nurse for many years, over 40 years. And this was something that I wanted to accomplish. And so when I retired, I went back to school. And I'm sure you realize it was quite an adjustment that first semester because when I went to high school, we didn't have computers. So I did, like Dr. Presser said, I learned how to do PowerPoint, Excel, and everyone has been wonderful and very, very supportive. I couldn't have done it without their help. Dr. Presser, the instructors, the tutor, the help desk. Anytime I had a problem with my computer, and that was often the first couple of semesters, help desk was always there. And the media center. And I hope I don't forget anyone, but it's been an incredible experience. I'm glad I did it. And it's been exciting to learn and very satisfying. So I encourage anyone that thinks they can't do it because they're too old. I'm living proof that you can. And I just passed statistics, and that was a real accomplishment. It made me feel I could accomplish anything.
Thank you, Linda. And now she's a technology whiz too,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
I love it. I see we have a question in here. Okay, so Michelle, you asked, are the prerequisites meant to be just that? Some programs are considering the co-requisite, meaning they can be taken at the same time. Yeah, actually, the prerequisites are the A&P 1 and 2, the micro, nutrition, and lifespan development. And most nurses already have the AP 1 and 2 and micro that transfer over, but I have a lot of students that don't have the lifespan development and nutrition, and you can take those as well at any time during the program. The only exception is if you need to take nutrition and lifespan development, we don't offer online at the school. So those are the two courses that we allow you to take in a number of ways. You can either take them at Tri-C or Lakeland. They're offered online at both of those schools, and then you can transfer them over. But if you choose that option, you don't want to do that your very last semester of the BSN, because your final grade from that community college won't come over in time to get your degree all squared away. So you've got to finish those courses before your last semester. But there's also another option that you can do is through a CLEP exam. So lifespan development can be taken through the national CLEP exam. And that, doesn't come over as a grade. It's a pass-fail kind of thing, and it's much lower cost. So I have some students that opt to do that. And you can also take those two courses through a school called Portage Learning. And it is an online distance learning environment where you pay for the course. It's about $600 a course, which is still less expensive than if you had to pay, per credit hour for a 3-credit course. And it's a self-paced course. So you can complete that course in 2 weeks if that's what you want to do, or you can take 3 months to complete the course through Portage Learning. And then Portage Learning, once you pass it, they will, you have the official transcript sent to us at Ursuline, and then you receive the credit. So there's a number of ways that you can take those prerequisite courses if you didn't take them in your pre-licensure program, because not all pre-licensure programs require nutrition especially, and some don't even require lifespan development as a separate course because it's integrated. So yes, you can take them at the same time.
And a lot of those distribution courses, so again, if you don't have the degree already, a bachelor's degree, so like the English literature, for instance, or history or something like those are also offered through CLEP. Those are administered through the College Board. So if any of you are interested in going that CLEP test route, they're administered not through Ursuline. You have to go to a College Board site. They have them, throughout the country. You simply pay $89. You schedule an appointment. I believe you can get supplemental test guides for about $10. Simply pass, fail. It's a bubble test. So for those of you that are a little bit ambivalent about bubble tests, that's what they are. And then right away, as soon as you complete. The nice thing about those is that they're pass, fail. So if you're not successful in passing these CLEP tests your first go around, you're eligible to take them again in 6 months. And those are nice because you can take them ongoing while you're at Ursuline. And again, if anybody is interested in those prereqs, so if you might not have had those nutrition or the lifespan or something along those lines, we have the course equivalencies, kind of like a sheet that can tell you if you want to take this class, if you want to take it through Portage or Lakeland or Tri-C, we have the equivalents so that you'll know specifically that, is it this nutrition that I need? Yes, we have the equivalency for either one of those options. So just keep that in mind. Again, we don't offer those in the online format, so we want to give you as much information as you can preliminarily so that you know about that. I don't see any, other questions. Linda, I'm sorry about that, you weren't on my screen. I completely just passed over you. So I'm glad that Dr. Prosser gave me a little nudge to say, Linda is here. I feel like I've known both you and Sandra for so long. We've been talking about this event for so long. So I apologize in front of everybody for just kind of totally just missing you altogether. I didn't mean to do that.
Oh, that's all right.
That was totally a goof. Been doing these virtual events long enough that, I would think, I would know everything. So our two student panelists, again, are here. We just got another question that came in. What is covered with the Ursuline College Identity, Diversity, and Community? Great question. That is one of our courses that everybody has to take at Ursuline. So regardless of if you're coming in with a bunch of credit hours, if you already have the bachelor's degree, that is a course that will be waived for you. Just keep that in mind. But for those of you that do not have the bachelor's already, that is something that everybody has to take. It's a great course at the 200 level class. So what that means is it's not a whole lot of papers. It's not test-based. It's more of reflection. We are, again, a women's college that was founded in 1871. We are founded on Catholic principles, but the idea with that course, because I went through it as well, I'm a UCAP student, is that it's all about finding your connection. Who are you? So it's very reflective. So a lot of the material is about reading some insights, especially from Sister Marici, and learning about what it means to be a part of your community, who you are as a person. This is so timely with what's going on now, but also with nurses. How can you make your world more? You may not be a designated advocate or an activist, but you can certainly find your way to help others and to make your world more. And so if you want more of the course description like answer, I can go ahead and send you the actual, 4 or 5 sentences about what this actual course means. But having gone through the class and giving you insights, one of the professors that teaches it has been at Ursuline for a very long time. Dr. Gina Messina is one of the most well-known professors in her field because she talks about intersectionality and what it means to be in the world and making it better and so forth. So it's really all about getting connected to Ursuline on a deeper level. And again, it's very much reflective based. So again, there's not a whole lot of tests. There's not a lot of citations. It's very much, here's an article that you read, and then you go ahead and write maybe, a little reflection piece. So it's very open-ended. She's a very engaging professor. She's been at Ursuline for a long time. She's got a lot of TED Talks. She does a lot of identity and self-awareness retreats. She's just a really wonderful resource. So she, again, has some videos on our YouTube channel where you can learn more. And I see that Dr. Messina pulled up the description about what that course is about.
Yeah,
but
I took it from you.
Yeah.
I actually took it from the Ursuline catalog. I have 2 screens here,
How
so
cool
I
is
pulled
that?
up the Ursuline catalog and copied and pasted it.
Yeah, it's right there, so you can see.
Sorry.
What it's all about. And, for those of you, I was just excited to learn it because I thought, is it religious-based course? Is it that, although we are a Catholic institution, any of our, some people see the religious studies courses and they think, oh, I'm going to have to, convert. No, it's really all about, just learning about different religions and learning about spirituality and so forth. And she kind of just weaves that in. And for those of you that don't know anything about Sister Marici, is that she was way ahead of her time. I believe she was around in what, the 14th or 13th century. And she was a woman that really, if you had a problem, you went to her and she made it happen. So learning about this woman that was ahead of her time, how empowering is that? So definitely it's not one of those courses where you feel like, oh, it's 5 weeks and I have to sit through it and I'm not going to get anything substantive out of it. It really was an eye-opening class, and it weaves in so well with the nursing classes as well. I don't know if I can just be so bold as to possibly throw it out to either Linda or Sandra. Did you have any experience that was different from mine with that UC 201 course that maybe you'd want to give some insights about?
I'll speak first. I did not have to take that course. It wasn't offered when I started in 2011 in UCAP. So I can't give any information, sorry.
Linda?
I think you explained it quite well.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, it was one of my first classes that I took. So I'm glad that, you know, I had it with such a really great professor, because you know, she was a mom like me. She was a working adult like me. So I saw a lot of myself, not only in her, but also in the class. So I didn't feel like it was a filler class just to take a class. It felt like I really, you know, refer back to it a lot. You know, it's really one of those classes. And I think for the most part, you know, again, throwing it over to the students that are currently in the program, you know, a lot of our courses are mindful of the fact that, you know, we want to cultivate you as an entire student coming into that holistic idea. You know, any other insights from our students, panelists, anybody in the audience? Before we wrap it up, it's about 1 minute to 6. So any other insights before we go? I just want to pull up my contact information. So if I can have the last contact page for those of you that don't know already how to reach me. I again am in admissions. There's my information. You can feel free to call, email me. We're all working remote. There's my information. Again, Dr. Prosser is available as well to reach out. I just want to thank everybody so much for being here. Dr. Prosser, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Linda, Sandra, I feel like I've known you for so long, although tonight is our first night meeting, just because I've heard so many wonderful things about you both, and I'm so honored that you were both able to take the time to join us tonight and give us some insights. I see you now clearly, both of you. There you are, Sandy and Linda. You're both right there. So yay, kudos to me. I learned something too tonight. So again, feel free to reach out to me at any time. Next screen, if you will. You'll know how to reach me. And again, I'll make sure to post you all the link to the recording so that you can refer back to it at a later time. It will be on our social media page on YouTube. We also try to post any virtual events that are informative. If any of you need some guidance about filling out a FAFSA, we have financial aid counselors that are more than willing to help you with that process as well. So just be mindful that there are so many pieces that come with coming to a program in a new school. And it's not just the financial, but it's also the information and the resources and everything. And we want to make all of those things come together so that it's stress-free for you all, but also seamless, because this is a big thing for you all right now, when we want to make it as easy for you as possible. So there's my information. Don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight. I appreciate it so much. Take care.
Thank you.
Be well, all of you. Thank you so much.
Everybody.
Bye.
Good luck, everybody.
Good evening. Best of
Thank
luck to
you.
you all. Take care.